Step 12, the last and final step, is to do the hem of the pant legs. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out how long you want it. In order to do that, I just measure my inseam. I take my trusty dusty ruler, hem tape. That's what they call that. I don't know what they call this. It's flexible ruler, whatever. And I put the tip of it where my crotch line is, and then Damien pulled it down to the floor and measured exactly to the floor, and it was 29 inches. You can also do the outside seam of your leg if you want, but you should have these measurements already from your measurement assignment. So 29 is how long I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my pants so I have one leg, and I'm going to measure exactly how I measured from the crotch line to the bottom of the pants. So if I am doing this and I do 29, okay, it looks like I do not need to cut anything off. Okay, mine is 30 and a half, and I like to have 1.5 inches on either side. Let me just double check the other leg. They should be a match, but you never know. Sometimes they are not. This is also 30 and a half. It's actually a little bit more than 30 and a half, but okay, we should be good. All right. So once you've marked how long you want them, I'm gonna fold mine in half just to make sure that both pant legs are the exact same length. And they are. Okay, so we're gonna deal with one pant leg at a time. So I want to have 1.5 inches past where I want it to be hemmed. The instructions have you fold it up 1 inch and then press under 1/4 inch. I like to press under 1/2 inch just because it's easier. 1/4 inch is so tiny that like it's super duper hard to get that much under. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna measure up 1.5 inches and you're gonna press it. So I'm just gonna measure starting at my seam because I like to start at my seams. 1.5 inches, not quite there yet, a little bit more. Okay, and this can be kind of eyeballed. As long as you have both seams and you pull them straight, then it's going to be 1.5 inches. So there is my 1.5 inches from both sides. I'm going to flatten it down on my ironing board, and I'm just going to press it. I'm not going to move the iron around a lot because then you can change your 1.5 inches a little bit. We don't want to do that. Okay, we have that pressed, and I'm just going to double check. The center is not quite 1.5 inches, so I'm going to move it up a tiny bit. And we'll, oop, there goes my ruler. We'll check the other side. And that one's also not quite 1.5 inches. That's okay. All right. So you have where the hemline of your pants are going to be. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this upper section, again, I like to start at my seams, and you're going to fold it down 1/2 inch so that you end up with 1 inch all the way around. So there's my 1 inch here, and you can take a pin again to mark it just to keep it so it doesn't go anywhere. Very similar to how we did the waistband. Fold it down. Make sure I have 1 inch. It's a little less than 1 inch. Pull some out. Okay, there's my inch there. And then I'm going to do the center. A little bit less. We are not doing a blind hem on this. It's pajamas. You don't really need to do a blind hem. It doesn't matter if you see stitching on the outside because, you know, it's pajamas. If these were dress pants, then we would be doing a blind hem. Okay. Does not look even. It's because this is not quite an inch. There we go. And you're just going to pin it all the way around. I'll flip it to the other side. Do the center first. There's 1 inch. Ow, stabbing myself with a pin. There's 1 inch there. Let's make sure we have 1 inch here. It's a little more than an inch actually. So we'll tuck that in a little bit more. Put our last pin. Okay, we will do the exact same thing with the other leg. Start with 1.5 inches. So we're just gonna fold these pant legs. Start at the seam. Need to have more there. There's my 1.5 inches on that seam. Check this other seam. Need a little bit less. Flatten it out. Check the center. Okay, 1.5 inches. Press that down. Okay, let's double check the other side. A little too much, but one of my legs is actually, there we go. Okay. Now we'll go to 1 inch. And you will fold it under. Make sure you'll have 1 inch, and then you'll pin it. We will press this seam after we've sewn it. So we're not pressing the top part right now. We're just pressing the bottom. Okay. There's that. Start in the center. And there's that.
Because what we're gonna do is we're all gonna have our videos, and then I'm gonna combine them together in iMovie to be able to make this cohesive.
There's that. One inch. Okay, fold it around to the other side, start in the middle, fold it down 1/2 inch. Put a pin.
Hi, Bryce. Bryce, did you watch the 2 videos I sent?
Make sure that works. And last spot. Okay, pin that. All right, now we go to our machine and we sew this. We're gonna make sure that we sew the exact same way that we sewed our waistband. You may find that your machine is not wide enough to put your leg all the way around. Usually machines have their accessory box can come off. So when I do sleeves and pant legs, I like to take that off so that now I can slip my fabric all the way around in a circle, a tighter circle. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna line it up so that you are sewing again right close to this finished edge that we created at the top. So I'm gonna line it up so that I'm sewing pretty close to that. Reinforce your beginning. Take your pins out as you go. And just sew all the way around the pant leg. I like to keep my fabric nice and taut. It helps to go through a straight line. When you're going over the seams, just go a little bit slower because it's many layers of fabric and you don't want to break your needle or break your thread or... Okay. And then go slow on the seam. And then we'll go line up exactly, reinforce, go backwards a couple times, reinforce. Okay, snip off your extra threads. I always have one at the top and two at the bottom. Okay, and then do the other pant leg. So we'll flip this around. I do not like to start sewing at a seam just because it's super thick and the machine doesn't usually like to start there. It's easier to start in the middle of the pant leg where the fabric is not as thick. So across there. Pins. This is why I don't like putting my pins this direction, because I don't like having to take them out all the time. I'd much rather sew over them. Oh, look, see, it's starting to unfold right here, so just make sure that you tuck that back under as you're going around so that it doesn't cause any, doesn't come out all the way. Okay, then you're gonna line up exactly where you started. Go backwards a few stitches to reinforce it. Pull it out, and then you're gonna snip your extra threads. Okay, we'll go back to the iron, and we will press these nice and flat. So we'll just flatten this out, and we'll just press this seam one more time. Okay, we'll do the other one. Flatten that out. Press it. Okay, now you can turn your pants right side out and they are complete. Congratulations, guys. You have finished your first sewing project. And here are some crazy Christmas pajama pants with a cool pocket. All right. Congratulations, guys. That is step 12.